Wow. That is something. That is really a dark horse. That's a dark horse, which leads me to our final topic. Katy Perry, very popular musician, um, recently lost a battle in court for, I think, copyright infringement, trademark infringement,
Yeah.
where the song that she had, Dark Horse, um, there were some other uh, musicians, I think Flame and I can't remember the name of the other one.
Right. Yes.
They were actually kind of gospel singers or hip hop gospel
Yes.
singers, and they won their battle against that. And we've seen this happen so much. I mean, you saw it with Robin Thicke in the Marvin Gaye estate, you know. But let's talk about this with the Katy Perry thing. I mean, she lost. I mean, how does that work when it comes to music? I mean, because it could be the simplest sound, like you said earlier about, trademark could be a sound. So how does this work? How does this work? And how did someone like Katy Perry lose this argument?
Okay, so this battle I think has been going on for the past 4 to 5 years. Um, from my understanding, I believe in 2007 or 2006, Flame and Lecrae released the song "Joyful Noise," and
Okay.
about 5 years later, in 2013, Katy Perry released "Dark Horse." And so Flame and Lecrae's song was actually nominated for a Grammy. It has a sick beat if you really listen to it. And so
Wow.
that's really, copyright applies to not only music lyrics, but also the actual song itself and the composition of the song. So that is where the intellectual property comes into play.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
oftentimes, if you have a very catchy beat, like Flame and Lecrae did, it's extremely noticeable. And so, for the moment that Dark Horse was released, I remember reading comments and people were like, "This is joyful noise. Like this is their beat. This is what this is." And so that had been going on for a while. So
Hmm.
essentially, if another artist takes a beat, and whether they speed it up or slow it down, still that is the original artist's work. It's a
Got it.
derivative work, basically a derivative work that someone created. It would be the equivalent of someone taking a video that you made for them and slowing it up or slowing it down or speeding it up, right? You still own that derivative work. So similarly, that's what has been alleged to happen here. Flame and Lecrae had this song. There was a very iconic, I would even say, beat. And what happened was, it's been, they said that Katy Perry and her team took that beat, or the producer took the beat, and then she was able to write the song over top of it. And so she did that without asking for their permission, and also without paying them. And so this was a huge hit. And so,
Wow.
basically, what had to happen was, there was a lawsuit. Most likely, there probably was some letters that went back and forth, like, "Hey, cease and
That's our
desist.
stuff. Yeah.
That's our stuff. You can remit payment. Let's try to settle." And maybe settlement broke down, and then they proceeded with the lawsuit. And then
Mm.
they have a musicologist that comes in, and they kind of compare the songs, and they talk about the similarities and things like that. And so then a civil jury, sat there and they listened, and then they decided, yes, this is
Wow.
infringement or it's not. And so that's what had to happen here. And so after you have a lawsuit that's decided in the favor of one defendant over the other, here it was decided in favor of Flame. They then proceeded to settlement discussions. And so the jury then has to look at the statutes and say, okay, based on maybe, Flame says, "Hey, my reputation as a Christian and a gospel rapper has been compromised because people are assuming that, I gave you access to this." They
Wow.
associate my
Wow.
song now with your song, right? And so, and that has a legitimate argument there. And so he's saying he suffered damage to his reputation. He also missed out on all of those payments from royalties. So the jury came back recently, and they awarded him with $2.7 million for the infringement. So, most likely, he either registered the copyright to the song or he did that
Wow.
shortly after. And so he was able to, I believe that this was in federal court. And so that's pretty much how it will come to play when it comes to some of this stuff. And the thing about the beauty of it is, we see this happen on smaller scales. Like I remember for Netflix and Stranger Things, there was a guy who had a blog, and he would put pictures of his VCRs on his blog. And so the actual company, the design company that did the Stranger Things cover, which is a VCR, they took his photo and they manipulated it and they put Stranger Things on top. And then he realized, like, wait a minute, this is this is my photo. And so
Wow.
he ended up writing a blog about it, and it caught the attention of Netflix. And he later said, me and Netflix have negotiated, and I'm very happy with the settlement. I can't discuss it. And so they probably cut him a nice check.
Yeah.
you know and so, I don't know if he, had a copyright to that photo, but he certainly was well within his rights to request that either they remove it or they pay him for it. And
Right.
so we just never know as small business owners. This guy has a blog. He's doing something that he loves. He wasn't thinking that Netflix was going to come along, right? And I think that that's we need to just position ourselves to just be ready, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know the big companies who are going to come around. Like, for instance, I had a young lady reach out to me, and she creates stationery. She did not move forward with my services, but she said, this huge card company, not going to say their name, they're in, when you think of cards, you think of them. They just filed a trademark for her exact business name. She did not have her federal trademark filed. So I'm thinking, like, oh my gosh, if you had filed that trademark, and she still probably could reach out to them, but without that federal trademark, I don't want to say her hands are tied, but
She has nothing.
yeah, she really can't say, oh well, you can't or you can't. They could have just the licensing deal that could have happened, would have been amazing for her and possibly life changing. And so now she was in this position of, what do I do? And I hate when people get in that situation. That's why I created Business Bakery, because if you are a small business owner and you cannot afford to hire an attorney, we have a affordable monthly payment for you to be in this program that can teach you how to do these things yourselves, as opposed to just sitting back and saying, oh, well, I'll worry about it later. And when later
Wow.
comes, most of the time you're in distress.
That is something. I mean, what a jam-packed episode
I
that
know.
we have, and you are just a wealth of information. Um, I want to thank our listeners for giving us their most valuable asset, their time, and listening to you and I today. And I want to also encourage them to go to your website. Go ahead and give them that website address again.
It is TicoraDavis.com, TicoraDavis.com.
Awesome. So visit Ticora, ask the questions, look at the agreements, and like my wise client said to me, if you wait until you are ready, it is too late. Some people don't want to call an attorney or get someone to look at their documents or agreements, especially us creatives, until it's too late.
Yeah.
So do yourself some service and do it ahead of time. But we want to thank you guys for listening and watching the AdCast. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We want to thank Craft Creative for actually providing production for us today. Thank you to our guest, Mr. Corey Davis. And also log on to our website, veryimportantplacement.com, for any tips, updates, and also subscribe to us, and you'll get our updates as well. So we want to thank you. We'd love to earn a 5-star rating from you. This is the AdCast.
Thank you for listening to the AdCast, the podcast for marketers and advertisers. Please be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever podcasts are found.